Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh, my friends. Welcome to all those that are present now and all those that are seen and all those that are unseen. Thank you once again for joining our weekly sessions. And, we began, or the center decided to initiate this uh, into a couple of months back. And we've tried to help we can to provide to offer understanding about health, mind, body, medicine, um, the nature of meditation, consciousness, but also reflected on the current events that are going on. In order to provide people some understanding and sense, but also to help individuals or guide ourselves and others through this rather challenging times that we are upon. So, as we began 2 months ago, we were telling you that this is like a timeline. And so, if we look at it as an event begins, then it has to go through a sequence of other events in order for that timeline to finish. And the timeline about the virus started, what is it, February 20, yeah, 15, 16, 17th, when the whole information started coming out of from Wuhan. And that was when the timeline started publicly, but actually was going on before that. And that timeline has evolved. It's kind of faded into the background to a degree because a new timeline has started. This timeline, the second timeline, is to do with riots. It's to do with injustice. It's to do with police brutality. It's to do with racial discrimination. It's to do with oppressing those that you can oppress and get away with because the majority thinks in that way or is made to look in another way, very similar to what's happening in Palestine and Israel. That there are such awful atrocities being carried out, but we can always kind of look away. It's more important to look at the figures of how many people are dying from coronavirus. And I still say, as we said to you right at the start, that there's a lot of smoke and mirrors and deception behind this agenda. And it's an agenda. It's an agenda in order to enforce a particular conditioning. We're already conditioned now to be certain distance away from each other. What, you don't think that you can affect each other? You have to be only 1 meter to infect one another? You don't think that pathogens are airborne and someone who may have coughed on one side of the world, that airborne information, that airborne content isn't going to come to you? I mean, wake up, critical thinking, just think for yourself. Putting these face masks on is no different to voluntarily keeping your expression to yourself. The mask will not help you. They never have. There's a whole range of reasons, science-based reasons. Even if you look at this pathogen, this virus, it's too small. It's like using it's like using a, say, a chain fence which has holes that big to keep a mosquito out. It's not going to work. So it's just doesn't make sense to wear it in order not to breathe in the pathogens. But you also increase your carbon dioxide because it's not going out as fast or as efficiently, make your body acidic, your immune system goes down. Your immune system goes down, you become ill. So new timelines are starting to begin. Another timeline that's starting to begin is now the shift in historical narrative. So all these statues that are being torn down, questioned, and you're going to have the patriots that are going to defend that bit, the nationalists, and then you're going to have those which are more to do with bringing some of these historical monuments to cruelty, to slavery, to rape, to murder, to genocide, because that's what they are. Majority of them are that, whether they're in this country or in any other country. They need to be brought down. History needs to be accurate and reflective, and certainly not worshipping people who are out there and have been known to commit huge crimes. And Slavery isn't just something that started between black and white people. We need to look at the slave existed in Arabic countries and still does. In fact, we have modern day slavery in many different parts of the world, including Britain. Including Britain. It's all okay to blame slavery somewhere else. But where do you think your cheap clothes come from? If you're that concerned about it, how about addressing the cheap clothes that you wear, the cheap goods that we get? Do you think these people are paid a decent wage? It's slavery. It's slavery. I will tell you a story about Guru Nanak, which kind of brings home. It is said that Guru Nanak was invited to a particular event in which all the so-called mystics and the enlightened spiritual kind of people were, and they were offered a whole range of different kinds of foods. And this was a tradition in India that the Brahmins, the priestly class, was always provided with gifts and food and stuff. So Guru Nanak was invited to one of these things. And Guru Nanak decided not to go there, but to go and hang around with a friend of his called Pai Lalo. Now, this other chap was quite poor. In fact, he was very poor. He'd work for the day, earn enough money, and then use that money to get some food and have that food. So very sparse living. So Guru Nanak decided to stay with him, and they shared their bread. And when the host of the other event found out that this mystic, this man Nanak refuses to come here, he said, "Well, I want to find out why." So he decided that he would go and question, and Guru Nanak's answer he demonstrated, and there's a graphical way of demonstrating this, which is used in this context, which was that the food that you are offering me has been food that's been earned through exploitation, through slavery, through cruelty, through exploiting resources, exploiting nature, exploiting people, simply so you can feed other people and claim yourself to be, good in the eyes of whatever you want to consider God to be. Or do I eat where this man has worked hard for his living, and the food that he represents is food of purity, ethics, dharma, etc. Well, we are in that same space now. We are in that same space. Do we accept to simply turn a blind eye to that which does not serve humanity, that which does not serve equilibrium, that which does not serve harmony? Everyone has difference. And these differences aren't just racial, they're religious, they are gendered, they are disabled, everyone. This ability to separate yourself from the other and then use your mind to exercise judgment, we're born with the separation, and then with time and with learned behavior we then apply judgment, and this becomes racism, this becomes gender inequality, etc., etc. We simply apply a judgment, and in that judgment we position ourselves to be superior, to be better educated. To be superior is perhaps the best word. A sense of conceit, a sense of pride. This is really nothing different. It's a mental illness. In fact, at the root of it, there is no difference between someone who preys on little children like a pedophile because they want to oppress them and they want to abuse them. There's no difference between that mental illness and this mental illness that we call racism or gender inequality or discrimination of any form. Because really, it's about asserting yourself to be different from the other. And through that assertion, whether it's done by one or by a society, that then becomes a mechanism of control and exploitation and abuse. So we can see this is going on, and as it's going on, it's time for us to learn. It's time for us to exercise critical thinking and judge for ourselves. Where do I stand? What is my truth? Do you remember we mentioned this many months ago, that there are three questions that are going to become really relevant to all of us, all humanity. Who are we? What is our truth and where do we stand? And here we are. Who are we? We're certainly not the skin. We're certainly not the thought patterns. We're certainly not the ego. We're certainly not the dominion over all other life. We're certainly not the only planet with life on this in this universe, let alone in this galaxy, let alone the universe. So all of these things are just our worldview that has been taught to us, and we are trying to hold on to it now. So the more we try and hold on to this, the more pain you're going to feel because life is now shifting and new timelines are about to begin. So I tried to explain this in the early days that this is like an energetic cycle, right? So it's like cycles within cycles within cycles. There is nothing you can do to avoid this. There's absolutely nothing. The changes that are happening are and are going to be happening. The subsequent changes that are coming as a result of what's already taken place and new events are going to shift our reality for once and for all. And the easiest way to make your life easy and less harmful to your health and enable your sovereignty to emerge is to begin to disengage. Disengage from all that is negative. Disengage from conflict. Disengage, certainly disengage from the media. Disengage from the mainstream media. Anything but mainstream. Mainstream media, the it's not going to take long when within this year, if not sooner, that when these figures that they are pushing down our throats, this is how many people have died, da 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 da. All of this is going to be in huge questioning. And these questioning will really impact all of us. So just do not believe that same propaganda over and over again, whether it's to do with Black Lives Matter, whether it's to do with police brutality, whether it's to do with COVID, whether it's to do with the second spike. Know what's going on, but certainly do not believe what these politicians are telling you. You know, the truth about the politicians is just around the corner. So we will see the truth for what it is as we are starting to see the truth. The truth. So, three words: freedom, truth, justice. The truth is that we have been surrounded with icons of inhumanity and we have never given it a second thought, or majority of people have, because we've been conditioned to accept that that is our history. Well, if that is your history, why don't you accept Jimmy Savile? Because he's part of your history. Why don't you make icons of all the other atrocities that we have seen with child abuse, with what happens in care homes, in children's homes, in the absolute carnage and inhumanity in religious organizations, in religions, in churches? Why don't we accept that? Is that what you are? So we have come to now look at what our truth is. Who am I? Well, I know I certainly am not any of this stuff. And I don't want to be part of this. I disengage from it. I, like you, know that I am a sovereign being. And this sovereign being has a life. And this sovereign being is as free as a bird is and should be. And this sovereign being is being used, is being controlled in a whole nature of different ways. Vaccinations, just the latest trend with AI and everything else that's going around it. So remember, critically think. Do not accept that what you've been told to be the truth, as you will begin to discover over the next, we all will, over the next few weeks. And we feel that through our own energetic connections, with our own work, with a whole range of communities around the world, we feel that there is a particular moment that we are now about to enter where the storm just begins. So up till now, this is just a precursor. And what do I mean by the storm that begins? The storm that is dismantling our worldview, the storm that is bringing harmony to us. But the harmony will only come through disconnection, where we disconnect from what was already there, and then we reconnect to a new paradigm. And this new paradigm is a paradigm that you have been building through the work that we have been doing and in your own way. A paradigm that's based on your sovereign self. A paradigm where your body's own immune system is strengthened and not weakened in order to find any pathogens, let alone just this little one. So the time has now come for us to exercise judgment and say, this is for my own good. And why is it for my own good? Is because the fear induction, the anger and the fear are all those emotions that, if they are sustained over a period of time, will definitely damage your health and well being, not to mention your relationships. The other thing I would certainly say to my friends out there who have been part of the protests going around is exercise caution. There are just so much that is now deception, that's lies, that one really doesn't know how really doesn't know where the other one stands. You need to know where you stand, but do not accept all that's going around to be just on your side. And these events become real trigger points in which, if there was any casualties at a mass scale, it can trigger off another set of events, which can then just create more anger, more conflict. So, our worldview is a worldview that's based on inner harmony, outer expression, right? If you are in yourself content, you have a different way of approaching the world. But if you are angry, then you will only give anger to the world. So important to exercise this judgment to come to your present moment, because it is only the present moment that you can trust. Everything else around you is fluid. You cannot hold on to anything at this stage. In fact, you cannot even hold on to your own body. You can't hold on to your own life. You cannot stop yourself having an experience. So we realize that we are part of this continuum, and we are conscious and privileged to be part of this continuum as it goes through these historic, monumental, biblical changes that we are all witnessing. How incredible is that? How blessed are you to know that you have gone through this? And all the hardships that we go through, we will bless them. Why? Because they will give us the motivation to make a change, to make a difference. The hardship are our blessings. Dukh daru sukh rog pya. Pain and suffering becomes our medicine when our lifestyle becomes a disease. Well, we are there. Our lifestyle had become a disease for ourselves, for other people. And as we said before, as I was educated recently with a friend of mine, Ravinda, that the chronologically aging is different from biological aging. And the biological aging is when we are so stressed that our immunity is so low, that which is why you are finding that more and more people are dying in so-called developed countries. The more stress we have, the weaker our immunity, the weaker our immunity, the quicker we're going to be infected, not just with coronavirus, but with everything else. And then when you add a little face mask to it, you just increase that risk for a little bit more. If you remain in this really, really scared space, then that just adds more impact and destruction to your immunity. So maintain immunity and maintain this sovereignty by connecting into that state of consciousness. Okay, so for those people who have joined us anew today, we go through our meditation and we're using a sound that's a healing sound. So we're using mantra frequency medicine, and it's like a prescription that is natural to every human being because it's based on the sound so hum. and so hum the sound are associated with our breath. So we will use that as we move into our meditation. So when you're ready, just shake yourselves a little bit. Make sure your neck and back is loosened. Your shoulders are pulled back a little bit. Close your eyes and close your mouth. If you can't breathe in through your nose, of course, you can breathe in through your mouth. And as you breathe in, begin to bring your focus to your body. Notice where it's sitting. Try and sense it. So you'll notice that you can sense your whole body. So it's like a diffuse sense. It's not quite a sharp outline, but it's like a diffuse sense of your body, the sensation of your body. Now bring your focus gently down where you're sitting. Notice the sensations where your body makes contact with the chair or the floor. Notice the size of those sensations, the shape, and they may be all diffused into one shape. Just see if you can get a sense of it. And then from there, if you bring your awareness upwards, so you become aware of your hips and your pelvis, and then from there, you move this focus gently down your thighs. So you sense your thighs all the way down to your knees. You sense your knees all the way down towards your ankles. Become aware of your feet. And if you can, become aware of the soles of your feet as best as you can. Now bring your focus back to the chair or the floor, wherever you're sitting. Notice the sensations, but also notice how firmly you're held in place. That you can't be anywhere else but here, wherever you are. And as you breathe in, bring this focus upwards so you go to your lower back. Notice the sensations anywhere there. Next breath in, bring it up to your middle back. Next breath in, bring it up to your shoulder blades. And then from your shoulders, move your focus down to your elbows. From your elbows, move this focus to your wrists. The palms of your hands. And then the fingers of your hands. Now bring this focus towards your eyes. Notice the darkness. Allow your eyes or this part of the body to soften. Bring your focus to your mouth, your tongue in particular. Allow it to soften. Notice the sensations on the roof of your mouth, inside your cheeks. Allow your jaw to relax. If you move your focus to the back of your neck and just pull your chin in slightly, you'll notice the back of the neck stretching. Now slow, deep breath in. And once again, coming back to your body and just sensing your body. Notice what's going on within your body. So are there anything that's dominant, like a sensation, a pain, an ache, a tightness, an itch? If it is, just locate it, just where it is. No judgment, no commentary. Bring your focus now towards your chest and ask yourself, how do you feel right now? Do you feel settled? Do you feel unsettled? Do you feel peaceful or do you feel agitated? Does this moment feel comfortable and pleasant or uncomfortable and unpleasant? On your next breath out, take your awareness and begin to listen to the sounds around you. So just start listening to the sounds around you, opening your awareness. So allow the sounds to come to you. Try not to look for them. You will notice that there are some sounds and noises that may be close to you and some which are further away from you. So we're going to use the sound of this bell to help us awareness towards the silence. Just follow the bell as far as you can. Listening. On your next breath in, bring your focus back just beneath your nose. Draw a slow, deep breath in. Hold that breath and relax. Now hold your focus just beneath the nose. Allow your breath to breathe by itself. If you find that your focus has been distracted by my voice or some thoughts, notice the distraction, come back to your breath. Your intention just to watch the breath. Notice that your breath has four parts to it. There's an in breath that comes in, there's a tiny little gap, and an out breath that goes out, and a tiny little gap. As best as you can, see if you can identify the in breath coming in, the gap, the out breath going out, and the gap. As best as you can. Now bring your focus just to your out breath and follow this out breath all the way till the end. And with every out breath, allow your body to relax just a little bit more. getting deeper and deeper into this moment. Stay with your breath. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to draw a deep breath in. And as the breath comes out, we're going to recite the sound. So, and all you do is simply allow the sound to be carried by your breath and listen to it. So when you're ready, slow, deep breath in. And again. Once again. Bring your focus just beneath your nose and notice what's going on in your body, if anything. Whether there are sensations that have changed in your body. The next time we're going to do Soham, we're going to simply whisper it to ourselves. Once again, drawing a deep breath in, and as the breath comes out, simply whispering Soham to ourselves. So once again, we're going to do it 3 times. So deep breath in. Notice the movement of your tongue. So once again, one more time. Coming back just beneath your nose. And now notice what's happened in your body, if anything. How do you feel? I'd like you to now bring your focus just to your breath and begin to listen to your breath. Try and make out the sound as the breath comes in and the sound as the breath goes out. Notice how the sound begins as soon as the breath begins to come in. And it ends when the breath is completely in, and it begins as the breath goes out. So stay with that sound from the start of your breath till the end of your breath. Stay with your breath, listening to the sound as it comes in, listening to the sound as it goes out. On your next breath out, I want you to open your awareness and begin to listen to the sounds around you. Also, the sound of your breath if you can. And we're going to follow the sound of the bell so we can get into that silent space from where we can listen. So, as best as you can, just follow the sound of the bell, noticing the silence at the end. Once again, allow yourself to completely let go and simply merge into the silence. From this space of silence, gently bring your focus back to listening to the breath as it comes in, listening to the breath as it goes out. And when you're ready, as the breath comes in, mentally say so to yourself. As the breath goes out, say ha, hum, so, hum. Listening to the so and the hum as you're saying it to yourself. Listening to the so as it comes in, listening to the hum as you go out. Notice if the sound begins at the same time the breath begins. And does it end when the breath finishes? And now gently with every breath out, begin to lower the volume within yourself of your mantra Soha, allowing the volume within yourself to get softer and softer. Keep going. until that sound becomes nothing more than a pulse. Stay with the sound, and we're going to move into a much deeper space of silence from which we can still hear this pulse. Follow the sound of the bell. Stay with the silence. Bring your focus to your experience. Notice the silence, notice the stillness. Notice how your sense of self has changed. No longer confined to your body, but awareness, unchanging, timeless, eternal, here and now. Your sovereign space, where the mind is balanced, where the emotions are balanced, and where the body finds its homeostasis, restoring health. Gently bring your focus back to your body. Notice that this body is still where it was, embedded in this moment, here, wherever here is for you. Can't be anywhere else. And it can only be now, can't be any other time. Notice the sensations where the body makes contact with your chair. Notice how you can sense your legs all the way down to your feet. Your back is still straight and upright. Shoulders, arms, hands are relaxed and comfortable. Eyes are closed, mouth is closed, your face is relaxed. And as you breathe in, see you can sense your body. And as you breathe out, you can sense the body. Notice how the body seems to expand as the breath comes in, and the body seems to relax as the breath goes out. In a few moments, you will hear another bell. This marks the end of our session. Use this bell, take a few deep breaths in, and in your own good time, opening your eyes. But before you finish, gently saying the sound so hum to yourself with your breath. For this is your medicine. This is something that you can use wherever you are. It's a sound of healing. It's a sound of power. It's a sound of empowerment. Wait until the bell finishes before you open your eyes. Take your time. Gently opening your eyes when you're ready. Take your time. Thank you for joining us again. Disengage is the word. May you be peaceful. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. Welfare for all. Thank you very much for joining us. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.